In this video, I'm going to show you how to use every win condition in Clash Royale. All the decks are taken from royalapi.com. Let's get started. Mirror. Place your win condition behind the tower, then mirror it on the bridge. Repeat your attack if it was effective, but be careful, your opponent will predict your moves and try to counter it. Support your tank with a spell to clear the way to the tower. Keep the pressure on your opponent as much as possible, especially in overtime. Use Golden Knight's ability to make your troops move faster. If you have a big spell and your opponent have less than 1000 HP left for his tower, mirror your spell on the tower to take it down and win the game. Wall breakers. At the start of the game, split your wall breakers to 2 lanes. Trick your opponent by attacking both lanes with either wall breakers on one lane and another tank on second lane. Protect your wall breaker with a mini tank. Use the miner to distract your opponent's defenses to clear the way for wall breakers. Attack both lanes to keep the pressure on your opponent when the tower has less than 500 HP. Place a mini tank on the pocket to make the wall breaker reach the tower easily. Goblin Barrel. Princess and Goblin Barrel have a great synergy because your opponent will have a hard time getting rid of one of them. Confuse your opponent with Evo Goblin Barrel by attacking both lanes. Bait the spell, then freely place your barrel. Place a mini tank, even a tank like P.E.K.K.A. Mega Knight on the pocket, then Goblin Barrel on the tower. Skeleton Barrel. Skeleton Barrel moves very fast. Your opponent has to react quickly to defend, otherwise huge damage will be dealt to his tower. Place Skeleton Barrel in front of the tank to take advantage of the target switch. It's a bad move to place Skeleton Barrel on the pocket since the King Tower will be engaged. Miner. Use the miner to take some damage and help the tank reach the tower. Support the miner with any spirit for extra damage. Place the miner twice at the same position, then place it with a heavy spell on the same place, and that's how you predict your opponent's moves. Miner can be used on defense and to win some time too. Miner between the towers is the most unpredictable place. Use it once when the tower's HP is lower than 300 HP. Always place miner behind the tower if you have a zap spell to make the tower target the miner instead. Elixir Golem. Elixir Golem is a surprise card. Always place it on the bridge. Keep the pressure on your opponent with Elixir Golem and a low elixir support troop on the pocket. Start the attack with support troops behind the tower with Elixir Golem in front. Placing Elixir Golem behind the tower will allow your opponent to prepare well for the defense. It's not recommended to defend with the Golem, but you can do it in very rare cases to win some time. Battle Ram. Battle Ram is also a surprise card. It should always be played on bridge. Kite the troops with Battle Ram on defense. This will open the way for a counterattack. place a tank in front of Battle Ram to take all the damage from it. Battle Ram on the pocket is not recommended, but it's unexpected as well. Use it wisely. Mortar. Place a support troop like a tank or mini tank next to the tower, then place the mortar on bridge. Your duty is to keep the mortar intact and locked to tower, so keep placing troops to protect it, but be careful from splash spells. It's very hard to win the game having the opposite tower down. That's why you should protect your towers even with 1 HP left. Mortar is a good defensive building. Use it to get rid of the supporting troops behind the tank. With Evo Mortar, you get extra boost. Hog Rider. Protect Hog Rider with a tank or a low-cost tank. Support your hog with Firecracker and a spell in your hand. Defend and counter with Hog Rider. Hog can attack solely and deal big damage. Double Prince. Start your attack from behind the tower and keep a spell in your hand. Prince is a long melee troop, so place it behind a tank for a massive attack. Keep the pressure with Double Prince by attacking both lanes. Magic Archer with Tornado. Place Magic Archer between the towers to combine both lanes. Then counterattack with a mini tank in front of him. Anticipate your opponent with Magic Archer on bridge and Tornado ready to fire. Keep practicing the Magic Archer bridge placement. Royal Hogs. Split your hogs to discover your opponent's deck. Support hogs with a low-cost troop and a spell. Balloon. Distract the tower with a low-cost troop in front of the balloon. Activate the monk to protect the balloon from spells and splash damage. This trick is by far the most effective attack in the game. Defend then counter with monk and balloon on the pocket. Place your balloon on the far left to avoid the building. Or on the far right, use a low-cost troop to push the balloon further in that direction. Ram Rider. Ram Rider works very well with Electro Spirit. Monk opens the way for Ram Rider. Place Ram Rider in the back to build for a counter push. Giant. Place a mini tank in front of the giant. It works well on the pocket also. Use Giant as a shield for your troops. Place your Giant with support on pocket for a direct tower hit, and most important, to make it unpredictable. Goblin Giant. Kite the tank with Goblin Giant for optimal defense to build a counter push. Support your Goblin Giant with a splash card and keep a spell or any a unit in your hand. Goblin Giant can be used in defense. Graveyard. Confuse your opponent with graveyard placement by attacking both lanes. Use Tornado to align enemies' troops with the tower and bowler. Use Freeze on defense with a splash card. When a tower is down, place Graveyard first, then place your troops after 2 seconds. Royal Giant. Start with Royal Giant from behind to have enough elixirs to protect it with support cards. Place Evo RG on bridge quickly and keep a spell in your hand. Use Void on building or on Royal Giant. Royal Giant on pocket. Giant Skeleton and Clone. Clone is a break or a make spell. Use it strategically against single targeted troops. Pocket Giant Larry, then clone after 3 seconds. Take advantage of Giant Skeleton's big bomb. Elite Barbs Rage and Zap. A tower is almost guaranteed by attacking both lanes. Confuse your opponent by splitting your Elite Barbs. Support Elite Barbs with a splash card or a low-cost card. Xbow. Xbow is a great defensive card. Place it between the towers when you face a big tank like Golem. Don't hesitate to use Fireball on the bridge to help Xbow lock to tower. Defend first, then counter with Xbow on bridge. Xbow and Evo Tesla have a great synergy. Electro Giant. Use Electro Giant to build for a counter-attack. Make sure you have a heavy spell with you. Golden Knight's ability makes Electro Giant moves faster. Keep the pressure on your opponent to force him to defend. The player who attacks the most wins. Lava Hound. Build your support from behind and lead them with Lava Hound. Start Lava Hound behind the tower, then place your support cards on bridge. Keep the pressure with balloon over and over. Golem. At the start of the game, place Golem behind the tower and support it with spells and cards on bridge. During overtime and before the X2 elixirs, always place Golem on bridge, otherwise you will lose. Use Golem to delay your ground troops to gain more elixirs for a massive attack. Counter heavy troops with Golem. Three Musketeers. Bait your opponent's spell with Elixir Collector, then directly place Three Musketeers. Place Three Musketeers on same lane only when you know that your opponent can't counter them. Always split the Musketeers into 2 lanes at the start of the game. Three Musketeers on the pocket are so predictable. Be careful when you use this strategy. Goblin Drill. Use a mini tank on bridge to distract the tower. Rocket or fireball your Goblin Drill. Goblin Drill can be effective on defense too. Be strategic with your Goblin Drill placement. Sparky or Royal Recruits. Start with Sparky from behind and Royal Recruits on bridge. Confuse your opponent by placing Royal Recruits behind the tower, then place Sparky on bridge, on the lane in which your opponent can't counter. Defend with Sparky to build for a counterattack. Royal Recruits. Place Royal Recruits in the back to prepare for your attack. Place Royal Recruits on the bridge to control the game by deciding on which lane you will place your second win condition. Not a Royal Recruits tip, but I will pass it here. Use wall breakers to move the attack from lane to lane smoothly. Thank you for watching. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Something big is coming.